What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are doing better than anything pretty much in the stock market. Maybe gold. Maybe you guys are doing a little like doing something like gold. I don't know. Feeling a little bit like gold today because the rest of the market not feeling too great. But we got Andy, we got Amy and House. Good morning to you. Good morning to Andy, Bill, Brad, Emily, Frank. Good morning to Jeffrey, Joe, Keith, Kevin, Lucius in the house. Good morning to Marius, Reed, Rob, Tim. All my people out at YouTube land. Levy coming in first comment on YouTube. Nice job. All right. We got Clarice. Good morning to you. Good morning to Bijal. Elsie Big Dream in the house. Wade. Good morning. Leonard. Good morning to you. We got Mustafa. All my lurkers in the background of YouTube land. Just not gonna say nothing the whole time. It's okay. I still love you. It's okay. Just hit that like and subscribe button. But yeah, market's down. Tariffs supposedly go in unless we get something else that comes in. It doesn't sound like it, but April 2nd. So was Wednesday. We should have more on tariffs. Market is down decently, all things considered. It is a retest gap from Friday. Friday was just nonstop selling day. I don't love this open. We have, if you are bullish, I'll give you your bull case. Your bull case is that you don't break down this candle from March 13th, and the fact that it is a retest of a big sell day on Friday plus the 2 days prior, that Thursday. Not crazy, still red though, and then that Wednesday is kind of where we just topped on that little run up. But this is your 618 bounce. Otherwise, if we were to expect a bigger bounce today, we really have to start getting above 551.49. So if we could clear above that, then we might have a stronger little bounce. But if we open in the next 26 minutes at this location, the first resistance I'm looking for is 551.49. That would be your kind of rejection spot, and either we have a extremely small choppy day that just keeps us in between the low of that candle and that range, or we end up breaking down. Next level to the downside would take us to somewhere around 548.71. From this move up from back, I think it was August 5th or August 3rd to the top. This was your 618 bounce. So now if we start breaking through that candle, we're below that 618. And I think you have bigger levels into like 541.94, and then we're looking at 539. So we'll have to see. Weekly candle for SPY. Wendy says we did pre-market though. We broke that support. Let's see what we did pre-market. Uh, you mean we came back for that retest? Yeah, we got back there. We haven't held yet. But where I think where we open on this one's gonna be huge. You still have this is your first higher low that's kind of coming in. Yeah, 549 is the spot we already got to. So we'll see. It's it's kind of crazy. It's not down bigger to be honest. But yeah, looking at the chart, if there's a 549 already kind of hit, I got somewhere around 548.42 to hold us. Otherwise, we got 545.08, and then like, again back to like 541.33 ish, something like that on the weekly. So we had a chance on a weekly basis where the Bulls tried to rally early in the week. We gave it all right back. Strong close, no wick at the bottom. But again, gap, it's a retest gap. You are hanging into a little bit of support from 2 weeks ago, from the week of March 10th. There could be a case where there's a little rally, some shorts look to cover potentially, and then I think we have to just wait till Wednesday. We have to see what the tariffs are. We have to see what's actually written in, what industries get affected, and then I think if you're going to have any type of significant reverse, it's got to probably be after the second, and we'll see if that is the case. We could also open up, find out we don't like the tariffs, and have another week or two of just straight selling. We do have Jerome Powell this week too, so we'll see how that plays into to everything. Let's take a look at the Qs. Qs on a well, let's go back to the weekly chart. Weekly chart, very similar to the SPY in terms of where we closed at, just straight down for the week. No real wick at the bottom. No real buyers came in. Sellers felt pretty good. You do have an interesting retest gap here as well. So again, do we open and drop? I don't know. Um, but I don't for the longer term picture, I'm not loving this move. I think if you start getting some bids up, look for some kind of resistance around 468.98. It feels like a while until we get back there, and that's probably where the any bulls that were incorrect on the decision on Friday to hold, or as soon as we started really breaking down this 471.50, you might have some room into that one where some of those incorrect bulls might be looking to readjust their positions, get out of that one, wait for better opportunities. You got 458.65 as your next spot down on the cues, and then you got somewhere around 454.62. So a little bit more room on both sides. This is a retest gap. I'm curious to see how much this retest actually plays in for today, but pretty strong retest gaps. You do have a little bit of support on some of these charts. Otherwise, the Qs look a little bit weaker than the SPY, so tech is still getting hit a little bit more. We are in a market that PAL feels like a relief, kind of, but for how long? Yeah, we'll see. Right now, I think it's uh, we'll see what Jerome Powell says, but right now we're looking at probably sitting at like a June rate cut is kind of what the market's pricing in. So we'll see. We will see. All right, let's go through a couple of charts. Tesla's an interesting one. Yeah, Tesla I was looking at this morning. So, what did we really do on Tesla? Well, we still have that double bottom. We're not really close, I guess, in terms of Tesla. I mean, if we come down another $20, and then all of a sudden we're testing the lows of this one, and it starts to look ugly again. Otherwise, interesting spot for the open. This is also another retest gap from Friday. If we draw a fib, again, we're just trying to make some scenarios, see which one could kind of play out. But you have a fib of that last just powerhouse move. All we're really doing is filling the gap, and then we have a 618 essentially where we're open. So somewhere, this is probably not to the penny, but this is close. We're essentially closing or opening right at that 248.96 zone. I do have a high volume zone somewhere around 251.78, so we will have to kind of recapture that. If we can, we could have a good bull play on Tesla for today. Interesting spot for some buyers that maybe missed this double bottom, maybe missed that last move. And if this is kind of a wave one break, then not bad. But we have to see how we kind of hang out in the zone. Um, if we drop it open, look for like 246 for a quick little bounce, and then maybe it goes. So maybe we get some just more fear, panic overall the market. We drop down. Look for that 246.02 would be an interesting spot. Otherwise, anything below that, then we're starting to look at these 234.15 zones. We might be looking back for this 227.70 and possibly a double bottom break. So you do want to see this level hold. We'll see where today closes on Tesla. But that is a interesting looking retest gap from Friday, and we are at a 618, which is potentially a little bit of a bounce spot from that last move that we just had. Reed says, I don't think there'll be any rate cuts this year. Um, I, I think we still get some. I think we still get some rate cuts. It all depends. Maybe too soon to say. I think the market probably overpricing in that June rate cut. If we get tariffs starting as soon as Wednesday, then we have to have a little bit of time to see how that affects things. If the pricing, uh, if we start getting inflation start to come back, which the inflation numbers were a little higher than we expected, then I think we're sitting where we don't actually look for that rate cut, and the conversation flips to is there a rate hike? So if there's a rate hike because of the tariff inflation, then yes. If everything is like if we don't really see a huge spike in inflation after tariffs, then I think that June number looks pretty good for a cut. But we'll see. But yeah, it's very possible. And if that's the case, if there's no rate cuts this year, that's going to put a little extra pressure onto those markets. But yeah, let's see. The next one I got is Meta. Meta closing right below that 200. Again, retest candle from Friday. So we're probably going to see a lot of that just based on the powerful selling that we saw at the end of the week. Today's also the last day of the month, too. So you want to price that in. I thought that was going to be last week, but my calendar in my head was way off. But today is legitimately the last day. We got Meta is opening at a little bit of support. Not a huge support. It's actually right underneath it. I think the only way I could play this one is giving me like a high wave candle. My targets would be to the downside 561.07. And then maybe we get into like this 555.69 zone. Maybe. That would be my stretch target. I don't think for today. I don't think we get down there. I think Max Payne probably gives us to like this 561.07. And I can't ignore that. Probably we get a retrace into Friday's low, into Friday's 576. I think I'd want to stick to a retest gap on this one. Believe it or not, looks pretty weak for longer term, but I don't think this is a spot for me to short. I think the best bet, best attempt is to short 576.73 if we could get up there, and that would give us a decent amount of room for today to be buying the dip at least for the gap close. Court, is that the I think they came out with an IPO. I don't know. Of course, no, I'm thinking something else. Court is right now. It doesn't look like it's doing. Oh, there it is. Yep, it's doing a lot. It's doing a lot. I couldn't even see the pre-market number on there. So there's a bull. There's a bull case, Jim Cramer. Was this on earnings? No, this is on news. Corcept soars as ovarian cancer drug succeeds late stage trial. Well, this is a gap up to all-time highs. I don't know how far this is going to go. That's really good news long term. My question is how many people in this trade already was waiting for that news to come out? And biotech, typically you sell the news. That's a lot of room for a fade. I think I'd have to play this one inverse to the short side. I would be terrified the entire way of doing it, but let's get this one on the chart. That is quite the gap on this one. Let's get that on the list. At least I thought I got it on the list. Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's there. All right, let's get it up higher. Yeah, let's watch that one. That's interesting. Looks completely different than the market. It has its own news. I don't know that I want to go bullish after almost just under 100% gap up on the day. That's an interesting one. Yeah, I'd probably want to stick to a fade on this one to the lower side, but I got to get some kind of pre-market levels, some kind of interesting candles to do it. Interesting though. Palantir PLTR. That one is also looking at a retest at open and then opening at a support as well. Big line in the sand on this one would take us to 78.83 to the downside. So if you like Palantir longer term, and just can't wait to buy some shares because this thing does do crazy rips, maybe you got some bulls in here. I'd be kind of zoning out to the bigger charts on this one. It's still seems kind of pricey, almost head and shoulders on a weekly setting up. If you break down this little hammer candle, so anything past like 75.14, that might get you at least the next move into that 50 EMA on a weekly, which is right back down to 60. So kind of an important level that Palantir has to hold. Other than that, on the daily chart of the weekly, you're right at the 20 as well. But maybe an interesting spot for a day trade. Again, going counter trend, but this is going to go take us into 85.10 would be my target. Maybe you might want to take some shares or be out by like 83, 88. I think you still get a really good trade as long as this support holds. I think give the market a couple minutes at open. Let some of the maybe initial fear, initial panic from having a rough Friday to another just wild open Monday that settles out a little bit, maybe we get some buyers that kind of step in. I don't know. We will see. We got MSTR. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. We forgot to do that. Bitcoin had its chance, stayed above the 200 for a little bit. Nice little flag pennant pattern. All that to be said is you're retracing, and let's actually do a fib on this one too. Looks like an interesting location for it. This one up here. Gotta squeeze it down a little bit. Let's get the top of that one somewhere up here in the low to right over here. That gives us already a bounce off that 618 from today. So we've gotten down to this 81,269. Again, I don't know that we're going bullish, but in terms of risk to reward, if this thing does go bullish, now all of a sudden you have a decent buyback spot. You're still right below that 50, so 82,715, still even at right now. Interesting case for a bullish location. However, below every single moving average possible. Not a great look. This is, again, it's a little hopium that we could get a bounce. They're trying to keep it up. Let's see MSTR. MSTR strong looking retest gap as well. Not loving this location. I don't know. I'd have to go iffy on this one. Let's check Coinbase out. Even if you get the retest, you could get a retest right into the close of yesterday. That's 289.01. So you have about less than $7 to the higher side. Maybe you could run into yesterday's VPOC or Friday's VPOC. That's 292.70. Gives you a little bit more wiggle room. But the first one I'm looking at that I kind of want to see this thing open above 283.98. So I'd see if we can get MSTR back above that first. And I think there's some room, again, unless we're expecting some of these numbers just to these levels to break through. I don't know. I kind of prefer it to the downside. So I almost want to either wait for this thing to retest and then play it short. To the downside, you have a lot of room. First spot being 275.93. So that's not going to give us a lot, but we've already messed with that level. And then I think targets could actually get us down to like 263.19. So that's what I'd be looking for, but maybe at this open, wait for a high wave candle, high wave indecision would be nice, and then play it short. But just to avoid kind of getting a stop first. What happened to Shopify? Why is that one not? Why is this not highlighted on my list? What did they change something? Hold on. Shop. So it does exist still. That's good news. Maybe it just changed over market. Get that one a little higher. Shopify, since we're looking at it, is below the 200. Also not a very good location whatsoever. So you're gonna want to be, if you want to go bullish, you got to get above 93.25, and then you have a few more levels of resistance. You also have that 200 on you. I think your target to the downside for a quick move would take you to about 91.25 if that breaks. Shop has already closed this gap one time, and then I think we're kind of looking for probably like 85.56, maybe until this 83.86. So again, this is a retest gap. I don't know if I'd play that one to a retest side of things as well. Let me see if I've missed a couple others. I see a bunch in YouTube land. Nvidia probably helping to cause some of this downward push. Pre-market at 105.52. Still inside. Again, this kind of looks like almost some of the rest of the market. You still have a little bit of hope on Nvidia that we don't break down this candle from March 11th. The low of that candle being 104.77. Not too far away from it. It is also a retest gap, so there could be a little, maybe some shorts want to cover. I don't know how many are going to cover here. If this thing opened closer to 107.36 or higher, I think you have a better shot at the retest. So look for that zone to be, uh, if we get a little retest, I think that's where you're targeting 107.36. And then I'd probably look to go short. Longer term, you still got this one from back here, September 9th. You still are holding on to that one. Let's see if maybe we can stay above it. That might be outside for a little short bounce at open. Other than that, you start to break that. I think you got one quick level, 104.50, and then nothing really until $100.70. So not a great look. And that's kind of retesting that August 5th gap. That would be the first time we kind of retraced into that. That was capitulation if I've ever seen capitulation on the day. My TradingView Spotify ticker has changed to Shopify. Uh, Mine still pulls up shop, but it's just under. Oh yeah, it looks like shop iffy. It's like, do I want to shop? Kind of iffy. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Baba, I see on the list. Let's go to Baba. We got uh not a fantastic open like many things. Huh. This is a red candle from Friday. However, that was also no, that was a gap and go to the bear side. So yeah, I would still count this as probably looking for a little retest. Again, not a we're even though there's a lot of retests out there, I don't know how strong these retests are going to be. Look for like 130.46 if you can capture if you get candles that close above it. Then I think you're more set up for that retest until 132.19. Otherwise, some kind of support sitting at 129.64. That's the key support on that one. If that breaks, you got room down to like 125.86. That puts it in a little chop zone, but it's still relatively holding. Hasn't really had a huge pullback quite yet, but it's on the verge of it. It's definitely looking a little sticky. You got MLGO is pre-market that's gapping up, so that one does look a little bit different. Again, this is just a chop fest of like this is a rough chart, but other than that, MLGO is gapping up, so it does look different. Still inside day, probably. I don't think I want to chase this one from after going from 250 up to 1850 in a matter of a couple days. But if you do want to try it, for me, I want to be the number one buyer of it. But if it got down to 1637, that would look a little interesting to buy it up. But otherwise, if you're still in it, you're probably just moving stops. This is one that can get that momentum in it. So if you're still in it, I wouldn't be panicking. It looks great. Not too eager to take my shares off the table. But you're just probably moving your stops, try to get your stops to break even, and then see if you could do one of those crazy moves. Otherwise, I kind of feel like I've missed it. Kind of feel like it. Corin says we will miss Biden soon. Was he a president or something? I don't know. I'm not sure. All right, we got SOXL. SOXL. Uh, yeah, that's looking rough. But that's yeah, directional for these semiconductors. We'll check out AMD next, and we'll also check out SMCI. But again, a little bit of support down here, longer term. This is coming all the way back from October. Otherwise, we don't have much to really say. Hey, this thing is gonna bounce out. If you're, except for maybe retest gap, 1, 2, 3, 4 days of selling. Maybe get that retest eventually into $16.11. That could be today. And then we just kind of hang on. I think we have to hang on in the market another 1 or 2 days. And then once we get some information, once we know the tariffs, once we know where the market looks, that's when big money can kind of start stepping back in and placing their bets as to what a good stock could be. Otherwise, we're just in still no man's land. Let's see. TQQ. Let's actually take a look first at AMD. AMD looking rough, but we had a gap that was open from March 14th to March 17th. So over that weekend, had a nice little gap up. You're right back into that resistance and not a strong open again. So it is a retest gap, but before we get that retest, we got to start clearing 101.09. That's going to be a major resistance at this point for AMD. So probably a little bit more choppy or movement to the downside coming in, retesting this 98.11. I think is your next spot where if you could get to that's your spot that has not been retested. That's your spot where you could get decent risk reward in a swing trade. So 94.57 would be my stop on that one. And then if we could actually bounce, great. Otherwise, we do have this blue line. Let's scroll out a little bit. This blue line has been a very, very big resistance. We broke it here. This all could just be a retest into it. Although I think we're past that 618 on this point, so it's a little bit weaker. We don't want to see it close back inside that little downtrend. We want to see us kind of get that retest, hold up pretty strong, and that would be a chance for an interesting, little bit of a longer term, maybe double bottom to it, and then we start going. But otherwise, it does look weak. As much as the market looks weak right now, there's a lot of retests in here. There's a lot. Be cautious. We got SMCI. Let's pull that one up. Again, another 1, 2, 3, 4 down days in a row. We got barely hanging on to any support. We got 32.49 essentially where we're opening. We are slightly above that one, but that was been messed with a few times. I don't trust it. Next big spot on this one for some kind of support. I think we have to look for like 31.70 and then potentially back to 28.97. Otherwise, on a retest, again, 4 days of selling, maybe get some kind of retest. I think your target for today is probably not a full-on retest. I think that's going to take you into like 33.52 for the high of the day. So we'll see where that one lands. I'd be kind of shocked if we even mess with the lows on SMCI. I think the other thing too is, would you rather own SMCI or Nvidia? I think I'd rather own Nvidia than SMCI. Uh, you're getting a good, well, decent, okay location on Nvidia from here. So if you have $1,000 that you want to put into the market, which one would you rather buy? So I think Nvidia's got to be the one that bounces first before any of these other guys start to move. Let's see. Did we cover all of them? I think we got all of those tickers. Let me know if you guys see anything else that looks interesting or you want to cover. Let's take a look at AVGO, which has been extremely weak. That one's already been way past that 200. So you got your 200. Never really came back for the retest on it. That's 183.75. I do have high volume zones somewhere around 172.10. And we are gapping down, retrace gap, starting to get into some interesting potential bounce spots, good locations, longer term to be looking to buy AVGO. Man, the Love Fest that came in at 250 and now a few short, let's see, was that a few short months later, you're getting a severe discount on that one. But longer term basis, yeah, we got a little chop. This one looks like some volume 159.69, and then if we start to lose that, you can see the price back to about 140, 139.39, something like that. Nvidia we did take a look at. Oh, you're throwing out you'd prefer to buy Nvidia over SMCI. Bijal says I thought I had a put in Bava, but have a call at 132. Okay. So you really gotta hope for that you gotta really hope for that little bounce back. Healthcare, the other one, mRNA was down again today. That one looks rough. This one is one that I don't think I would really care about I don't think I would care about the retest from Friday. To some extent, we might get a little buying, but this one is now breaking key levels. Momentum has just been absolutely rough on this one. I don't think we get too much of a bounce. I think mRNA probably today would be almost one of my favorite ones to look to go short on if we could get there. How is that the morning bell already? That's crazy. mRNA already throwing a little bit of a red candle, but that morning bell means that unfortunately, YouTube, I got to disconnect. You guys are incredible. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe buttons if you've not done so already. And be cautious. I think it's going to be an interesting open for the day. I think there's a lot of retest opportunities, but we will see. This is a weakness everywhere right now still.